How's it going, everyone? You're watching Stretford Paddock, and here today with a live stream of the Paddock pay-per-view. It's a new show we're going to be doing every weekday morning. We're just going to be looking at the day's news, the newspapers from the night before, and basically everything and our opinion on all the news, really. First up then, over the weekend, this one's in the Daily Mail. Obviously, it was the Nations League this weekend. England finishing a lovely little third there. Rashford scoring a penalty in the semi-final, of course, that they went on to lose against the Netherlands. And Portugal won the whole thing. This one's in the Mail. Insatiable Ronaldo is the driving force again. Talking about the game, obviously, Guedes scored the winner in the 60th minute there. Portugal v Holland. Talking in the article, obviously, about the goal about Ronaldo being Portugal's star man, as you'd expect. But it says here, Portugal had the better of the opportunities before the break, and their standout performer was Bruno Fernandes. The Sporting Lisbon midfielder continues to be linked to Manchester City. Well, he is continued to be linked to Manchester City, but last night on Reddit and obviously on Twitter, Pietro Balzano Prota, who is, according to what I've seen online, predominantly an AC Milan journalist who seemingly is about as reliable as it gets for AC Milan. He's obviously stepping out slightly from that here, talking about an agreement with the club has been reached. This is talking about Bruno Fernandes and Man United, not City. An agreement with the club has been reached. They are supposedly working on the last details, the one aspect being the commissions. Various clubs seem interested in the player, but for now, Man United is very close to signing him. Which is, I wouldn't say it's come out of nowhere, but obviously, like they mentioned in the Mail yesterday. Well, I guess this article would have been written last night for this morning's print. He has been linked predominantly with Man City. There's been talks of United after him, but it almost seemed like the kind of, well, I hesitate to say the Delict situation, we're not sure exactly on that yet, but that maybe Fernandes and his people were using United's name to get a better deal out of City. But this is the first sort of real reliable journalist, real reliable person saying that United are very close to signing him. Like he says here, one aspect being the commissions. I assume that's a sort of a bit of a rough translation of sort of agents' fees and that kind of commission, rather than any kind of like the FA being the commission that need to have any paperwork done there. I mean, the guy's, he's 24. Obviously he plays for Sporting Lisbon as a sort of an attacking midfielder, but he's a bit more box to box than that. He's not just an out and out number 10. He's got 32 goals and 18 assists in 53 games in all competitions last season, which is just mental for a midfielder, mental for anyone really. And to get that many goals and that many assists is, you know, absolutely ridiculous. So he's obviously a player of real quality. His style of play seems to be sort of a very aggressive playmaker, so he makes loads of chances. He gets the ball in the box a lot. He arrives in the box a lot, almost in that kind of Lampard style where you see him. He's not necessarily the most technical on the ball, which is obviously he's very technical on the ball. He's an excellent player, but he doesn't have that kind of really tight, quick turns, footwork, like sort of through balls. That he's not that kind of player. More, he's more of a kind of he relies on his timing and he arrives in the box just to get goals. You look at videos of him, you look at any sort of highlights from him last season. There's a lot of headers in the box. There's a lot of ludicrous long range shots with both feet seemingly. So that's something that's really exciting. United generally last season just didn't take enough shots compared to the other top teams in the league, the other top teams in Europe. United don't take enough shots on goal, whether that's because we're not creating the chances through the midfield due to a lack of creative sort of passing and outlets in the midfield, or whether that's just because the players are shy to shoot. Well, he's certainly not shy to shoot. So it's an interesting one. Obviously we're live today, so let us know what you think to this story. Do you think Fernandes is a good signing? Do you know much about him? Is there anyone in the chat that has watched him play much this season? Because obviously being in Portugal, you hear a lot about him. He's very highly rated, but most people don't get to watch him week in, week out. So if anyone's seen a lot of him, let us know what you think to him down there. It's one of those where there's still part of me that thinks, oh, is this just happening to get more money out of City? This guy though seems to be like, everything you read from him, this Pietro Balzano Prota, it seems to be like he's just this sort of a nice guy who is a very reliable journalist. So it would be a surprise for him to really go out on a limb like he is with this one, unless he knew something, which is obviously exciting. There is a chance, of course, that he knows something. He's been told something that ends up not being true. So you have to hold judgment slightly there. But it's an exciting prospect for sure. Is he the sort of player we need? Can he replace Herrera, or is he more of a sort of a Mata replacement? He'd play just behind the strikers. We'll have to wait and see with that one, I suppose, but it's definitely very exciting. Obviously, again, 24 years old, get him signed on a big contract. He's just coming into the prime of his career, so I doubt he'll be able to replicate that kind of goals and assists in the Premier League, because obviously no one does. No one gets 32 goals and 18 assists in the league, but if he could, double digits for both in his first season, that would be obviously proof of an excellent return there. Next up, this one's in the mail as well, actually. This one says, United fail in Aaron bid. This is talking about the Aaron Wan-Bissaka, of course, of Crystal Palace, 21-year-old English fullback. Basically saying that United have had a £40 million bid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka rejected by Crystal Palace. The Old Trafford club are now weighing up whether to make an improved bid for the England under-21 international, who Palace value at more than £60 million. It's a lot of money in it, 60 million. Again, it's one that has been sort of rumbling on for the past couple of weeks, but it seems as though multiple outlets, the Daily Mail, other people online, saying that we have made a bid for him that's been rejected. It's a bit of a strange one, really, because I don't really know how the bidding process works. Because obviously United are talking to Palace, and they say, do we say, what do you want for him? And they say 60 million, and we go, no, I'll give you 40, that'll do, won't it? That'll do, 40, take 40. And they go, no, we want 60. Or do they say, or do United put a whole package together of 40 million and present that almost sort of blind to Palace? Because how can you have a conversation, how can Man United be having a conversation with Palace and we think that 40 million's enough and they want 60? Surely, just in the initial stages of any conversation, you'd say, well, how much money are you thinking for him? Oh, okay, 60. Okay, and then you wouldn't offer 40 from there. So I always wonder how these kind of bids and rejections are reported in the media. Maybe it's more of a kind of United went in initially wanting to pay 40, but surely they wouldn't go in wanting to pay 40, Palace say they want 60, and then we still bid 40. So I never quite understand how that works. But, obviously if the Daily Mail know that Palace wants 60 million, then United know that Palace wants 60 million as well. Again, it was basically his breakout season at Palace, wasn't it? He was no one really knew much about him this time last season, so it could be a bit of a risk. Obviously, he's not proven as an attacker, particularly because Palace don't really get that much chance to attack, so we'd have to find out more about him as an attacker if he came to United. But defensively, he seems to be very sound. Obviously, he's a young lad, so he's got plenty of legs left in him, which is something that we don't necessarily have at United at the moment. What do you think to that one as well, Wan-Bissaka? Let's have a look in the chat here. Scott Ferguson saying, we want Wan-Bissaka ASAP, pull your finger out, Ed. So, it seems like people do want him. Kevin Carter saying he's a beast. Matt Friel saying if they get Fernandes and Ndidi, midfield sorted. Yeah, Ndidi's one that he seems to be sort of a fan favourite, but I haven't actually seen many reputable sources saying that we're after him. But he would be that, of course, that deep line kind of, well, I don't want to say destroyer because that's a bit of a cheesy term, but breaking up the play, getting tackles in, rather than someone like Carrick who plays as that deep player but isn't really as combative. He just kind of blocks out the play there. Macmillan Mackay saying if we can buy Fred for 50, you can buy Wan-Bissaka for 60. That's maybe a good point there. Someone who's Premier League proven and only 10 million more than someone that we bought from, was it Ukraine, Shakhtar last season in Fred. So yeah, it's a good point. And finally, our last bit of news for today. It's an interview in the Mirror. It's reported in the Mirror, but it was an interview with Wayne Rooney to I'm not sure who he was chatting with. Maybe it was with the Mirror. Anyway, he's saying the first thing Ole has to do is build the squad. I don't think bringing in one or two players for over 100 million is going to help the squad. He needs to try and look at 5 or 6 who have the potential to be top players. You're not spending 130 million on them. You spend 30 to 40 million, which of course might be someone like Bissaka, obviously maybe slightly more than that, and you try to improve them. which will give you longevity and allow you to build a squad around them. You could bring in Ramos, Ronaldo and Messi or Bale, for instance, and it's going to cost you 350 million, for which you get what? Maybe 2 years out of Ronaldo, a couple of years out of Ramos, and then you've written that money off. So he's basically saying that he doesn't think United should be going after these sort of more older established players. He likes the idea. I guess if James, he fits in that category, obviously 15 million. Daniel James, obviously 15 million, going up to 18 million. I think he's going along with the sentiment that is coming out of a lot of United fans, that is, we're in a state where we need 5 or 6 players that can be big players in the future, rather than trying to patch over holes with plasters, with £100 million plasters, and hoping that that's going to work. We need to sort of fix the club from the bottom and bring it up. Let us know what you think to that as well. Do you think we should be trying to sign people like Bale, like Ramos reportedly leaving Real Madrid as well? Should we be going after big names who are a bit older like that, or should we be going after people like Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James? Let us know what you think to that. And again, we're going to be back this time tomorrow morning with the paper review again. If you see any interesting articles, tweet us at Stretford Paddock. If you see any silly, ridiculous pun headlines, I always like to read those. If you see any of those, tweet them at Stretford Paddock as well. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you next time.